Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. We'll just wait for a few minutes for everyone else to join, and then we'll kick this one off. All right, before we begin, can we do a quick sound check from everyone?
Testing.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
All right, that's amazing. It's good to hear you all. All right, welcome to another episode of XTalks, everyone. In this episode, we will be discussing a few things about cross-chain swaps, stuff like that. I'm sure
Check.
Cryptonaut yeah, I'm sure Cryptonaut will help us dive into more deeper topics. And yeah, if you guys haven't joined our Discord yet, make sure to do so. Cody, Cryptonaut, would you like to give any opening statements before we go over the questions?
For sure. Welcome, everybody. I believe this is episode 27, I believe. 28, somewhere right around in there, of X Talks powered by Layer 1X. Thank you for being here and listening in. My name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X, a Layer 1 blockchain, and I will be your today's host. And for those that are returning listeners to the XTalks AMA series, welcome back. To our new listeners, the XTalks AMA series is both explores both new and existing projects across multiple chains. Our open panel style discussion format focuses on the latest in Web3 innovation trends, including us going down a few rabbit holes in Web3 evolution as we move towards a truly decentralized and bridgeless interoperable experience. Before we introduce today's panelist, let's take a minute here and invite you guys to the next one. So please make sure that you mark your calendar for Friday, the 8th of March at 8 WST time. That's 12 a.m. UTC time. For our next episode, which will be going over the future of crypto wallets. For some of those that are in our community, know that that's kind of a close to my heart kind of topic, and so I'm excited to be diving into that one as well. So, again, thank you for everybody that is a panelist on today's episode. I think we've got everybody up. Is that correct?
Yes, I think we have everyone up. And before we move in, I would just like to remind everyone to use the comment section if you have any sort of questions or suggestions, or if you would like to come up on stage, talk to us, ask questions, stuff like that. Share this with your friends, share on Discord, share on Twitter. Let's get these numbers up. And yeah, let's move forward with this AMA.
All right, sounds good. So just to kind of do some house rules, our AMA format for our panelists is pretty simple. You don't need to raise your hand. Feel free to jump in and speak whenever you feel like you have something to contribute to the discussion. Likewise, just be mindful that and allow others to join the conversation. So let's start off by having everybody introduce themselves and give their 30-second elevator pitches for their projects. Who wants to go first?
Hey everyone, I can probably go first. My name is Joel Valenzuela. I work in biz dev and marketing for Dash, payments focused cryptocurrency, and basically Dash aims to be the digital money of the future that just works. Instant transactions, privacy, security, all the other stuff. And I kind of am interested in this space, particularly because one of our main partners, the Maya protocol, which is a fork of Thorchain, has really kind of enabled a lot of extra use cases. And so I'm definitely not what I would call a cross-chain expert, but I'm definitely here as an advocate for all the kind of ways it can be used and can really amplify the space.
Hey, I'll go next. I'm Will. I do marketing for Web3 projects. I'm also a journalist in AI and Web3. Also do fractional CMO work. Most notably, I just took over as the chief of content for a DeSci project called
Cody, if you are
XTalks.
speaking, you are on mute.
No, I can hear him.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, we
I
might
guess it's just me.
we might be getting I might be getting rugged. I'll keep the intro short. So basically, I'm here today to learn from some of you experts. I'm very unsophisticated when it comes to bridging and swapping. Usually, I just do it through the third party add-on that I have in MetaMask, which it sucks. Like I always worried about security. The slippage is ridiculous. So I know there are better ways out there. So let's get into it.
Hey guys, I can go next. Great to be here. My name is Vivek, CEO at Swing. We are a crypto liquidity router. Essentially, what we're doing is we aggregate all major cross-chain bridges, DEXs, aggregators, even staking DeFi protocols as well, and help our teams move liquidity from one chain to another and help them onboard liquidity into the space. I think the biggest thing in the space, I think, is if you're a protocol on Ethereum, you don't really have liquidity concerns, lots of users, lots of volume. But if you're a protocol on a non-Ethereum chain, bringing liquidity over to your protocol sometimes is kind of a process full of friction. And so, yeah, excited to be here and dig into more of these details.
Hi, my name is Julian. I'm the co-founder of Masma. So, like all of us, I've started quite late in the crypto space. Learning the challenges and learning curves of cryptocurrencies, and obviously trying to explain to friends and family. As working as a product manager for the last 5 years, I met my co-founder Mitri, who has decades of experience building mass unicorn companies like Spotify and Autodesk as the principal and staff engineer. So we kind of got together and identified that Web3 was not easy to use without hours of learning and mistakes. So we actually decided to solve that problem by delivering a familiar everything app that has a very familiar user experience. So we do that by using account abstraction to remove all the complex steps and yada yada. Basically an easy way to kind of imagine Masma is a PayPal mixed with a Venmo, MetaMask, CoinMarketCap, and a Twitter, all merged together to deliver everything you'd need in one user experience. So happy to be here and talk about cross chain because we do actually use a lot of cross chain in Masma.
Hi, I am Karthik from Ghana Labs. So we are a cross-chain aggregator. So we aggregate pools and dexes across multiple chains, and we also aggregate multiple bridges like Wormhole, Layer Zero, and CCTP and others. So our specialty is cross-chain aggregation across EVMs and non-EVMs like Aptos, Solana, and Sui. So the liquidity lies mainly on the EVMs at this point of time. So we help the smaller chains, the non-EVM chains, in moving liquidity across.
All right. I think that is about everybody. So I think we've somebody mentioned that they're maybe not the expert in cross chain technology or things like that, but I have to throw it out there that this is a safe space. I don't think that there is any expert out there when it comes to Web3 technology and innovation, because we are the ones writing the book for this. So any contribution is welcome, and so let's dive in. I think we've got a great group of panelists today to talk about our subject, which is the capabilities of cross-chain swaps. And let's just pause for just a second before I ask the first question. Again, please, if you haven't, make sure that you share this link so that we can get this information out to the masses. We would greatly appreciate it, and I would definitely love you forever. For those that are just tuning in, my name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X, and I will be your host on today's episode of XTalks. So let's dive in. So the very first question, let's see here. So could the ease of cross-chain swaps eventually blur the lines between individual blockchains? For an example, will we someday reach a point where a project's underlying chain matter less than the experience it provides? Or will the distinct blockchain branding and communities always prevail?
Yeah, I can take a stab at that one. It's an interesting question because I think the purpose of some of the cross chain teams in the space, first of all, to kind of lay the land of the landscape the way I see it, we have cross chain bridges that are specifically providing liquidity networks or what we call message passing, general message passing to enable these type of cross chain swap use cases, and then we have cross-chain aggregators like myself, like kind of labs as well, who are actually building infrastructure on top of these bridges. And our goal really is to abstract away the need for the users to even understand that this asset lives on this blockchain and this asset lives on that blockchain. The way we've even thought about this at Swing is that we've essentially, our API works in a manner where you just tell us token A, blockchain A, token B, blockchain B, and we'll handle the swap for you regardless of how that's done. Find the best route, tap to whichever liquidity sources. But our long term vision is we do believe that the intention is to abstract away that entire cross chain layer altogether. Users don't have to think about that. You shouldn't have to worry about which bridge you're using or where is this liquidity coming from. If I have USDC, let's say on Arbitrum, and I want to make that asset productive, I should just be able to be told, yeah, you can earn 6% here, you can earn 7% here, and it might be on Aptos, or it might be on Solana, or it might be on Cosmos. I don't think the end user is depending on the use case. I think it varies in terms of if they care about which chain it's on. Now, in general, I think most blockchain communities, as we all know, are very tribal. They are the Polygon crowd really loves and is constantly shilling the Polygon crowd. The Arbitrum crowd the same way. The Cosmos ecosystem is very unique in that way as well, like vice versa with the Solana ecosystem. And so it's kind of like a balancing act, I think, between the individual members of these chains kind of finding an identity at the same time, also trying to make their assets more productive as well.
Yeah, I would say, the end goal for me really is blockchain singularity. So where everything sort of merges together. And I think that I would ask the question, I think the branding question comes after that. The brands that will succeed and the blockchains that will succeed are the ones that get a leg up on the interoperability, on the standardization. Remember, digital identity is going to be one of the most important things in technology, right, over in the next few years, right? We're all going to be logging into Zoom with our digital ID. So your digital identity, your social graph, not only your tokens, not only your NFTs, those are going to have to be things that you can port over to, n number of blockchains. So, I see the cross-chain swap dilemma as just, being part of that bigger picture. And I don't think that, I don't think that we're at the point now where brands are going to lose their differentiated value or their communities. That's still going to stay, but the brands that will survive are the ones that are going to be able to let people just port their whole lives from one chain to another.
Yeah, so definitely, I think that it really depends on the end user application more than the underlying chain. Where right now, I think that we do have a lot of on chain tribalism because a lot of people, if we're being super frank, the overwhelming use case for crypto that's used today is speculation. And so people like to buy their token. They like to see the little logo next to it. They like their project to go up. And when they actually use the chain, that's almost like a secondary thing. Now, in the future, people just use what they're using. So I don't think that anyone will really know if they're using Tether on Tron or on Polygon or USDC on AVAX or whatever it is. I don't think that'll matter necessarily as much. It'll be the end thing that they're trying to achieve. And of course, anytime you have to do any sort of cross-chain swaps or anything like that, or bridging, you do have two inherent drawbacks, which are a lack of efficiency and I guess a lack of certainty of the actual experience. So, for example, if you're using a low fee chain for whatever use case, and then you end up going back and forth across a few different blockchains, maybe you start dipping into some high fee or high latency territory, and then all of a sudden your guaranteed experience isn't necessarily as good. So I definitely think that things will always run smoother if you're mostly focusing on one chain at a time for a specific use case. But then, of course, bridging kind of makes it easier to not run into roadblocks for other things. So basically, I think that you'll have a lot of apps and major use cases where people are using just one chain for the majority of the time, and then they relatively seamlessly bridge in and out to other ecosystems when they sort of change apps, for example.
So this is a problem that we're actually working on at Masma. I wanted to basically obfuscate all of this and make it like, just like a traditional, centralized exchange, right? So on a centralized exchange, I mean, they're all these tokens are on the same app, and no one really knows what chain they're specifically on, and you just kind of buy and sell. I do think that future is very close, because we've already actually created a prototype that allows us to, straight from your cash balance on Masma, buy any single token from any single exchange. Any single decentralized exchange, any blockchain, all in one click. Right? We take care of the gas fee for you. We take care of smart routing. We take care of all that stuff. Right? Even as well the token pairings. You don't have to worry about whether or not it's paired with USDT or USDC. It doesn't really matter anymore. And then going around the problem with communities is like, just look at, for example, CoinMarketCap, or look, for example, Twitter. Like, you don't necessarily need to be on a specific blockchain to build these communities. It's the applications that you're on that build these communities. So if you're on CoinMarketCap, you just follow a specific token that you align with, and you'll see all the conversations or people that really follow it, or then you go to a specific Telegram group. So within Masma, like how we've done it is, we're just actually going to help projects or help users build communities around their tokens or NFTs, and then the actual universal platform itself takes care of the rest. If I want to go to this specific token because I vibe with this community, I can buy the token. I don't have to worry about what chain it's on, and then vice versa for any other token as well. So I think that's where the future is. Not, everything's on Solana. Oh shit, I got to figure out how to swap to go to Solana and then not become a Sol maxi. That's there's so much, too much thinking for that. Honestly, I'm a founder in the space. I'm still like, oh my god, I gotta go to another blockchain and become figure out all the intricacies of this shit. I don't give a shit, right? And neither do most other people. The only reason why they care about it so much is because obviously they're financially incentivized. Obviously they're gonna want to pump Sol, because the moment you put $5,000 into Sol, you're gonna become a Sol maxi, right? So I think that's yeah.
Yeah, I think Joel hit the nail on the head in saying that the bigger problem with this, more than the user experience, because we have been building our platform for around 2 years now. The bigger problem, we can solve the user experience issues, we can solve the UI issues, and things like that. But at this point of time, the biggest problem that we are facing, I believe the entire industry, the blockchain industry is facing, is the liquidity issue or the efficiency issues. So if I send, say, $100 worth of tokens from chain A to chain B, ideally, as a retail user, as an end user, I would expect to receive $100 worth of token B on chain B. But what we are seeing now is that the user receives only 90 or only 80 actually. So the efficiency is reduced by 10 to 20% when the cross-chain swap happens actually. And so far, it has been quite difficult, not just for us, but this is, I believe, an entire industry-wide issue. In that, it has been difficult to manage this, especially when you move to the smaller chains like the new exchange like Aptos or Arbitrum or Avalanche. If MetaMask, which is one of the biggest dedicated platforms in the swapping industry, is struggling to achieve 100% or even 90% efficiency cross chain, then you can just imagine how difficult it would be. The real issue of efficiency, cross chain efficiency would be. So that is a problem which I believe everyone is going to face in this industry, which I believe everyone is looking to resolve, and we are hoping that there will be some solution to this efficiency problem, hopefully within the next couple of years at least. Because unless that is resolved, any amount of work on the UI or the UX, I don't think it would serve as a solution, a good solution for the users.
Yeah, is there any technologies that we should be looking into regarding the like this liquidity thing? Like anything that any type of protocols or projects that are kind of leading the space that I mean, either one of you that are kind of in the actual cross chain development space that we should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I think a key point with liquidity is that it's obviously fragmented today. It's all over, right? Even for first of all, you have liquidity fragmentation at the DEX level. On Ethereum, you may have tokens listed on 20 different DEXs, and so typically we talk about this problem of paying higher fees, hitting slippage. DEX aggregation solves that problem, right? But then also when you think about the same set of assets, like between Polygon and Ethereum, there's lots of common assets that have been forked over. You also have a liquidity concern there too, and so I mean, at Swing, we've been kind of working on this for about 4 years now. And essentially, we've thought about this problem around liquidity, cross-chain liquidity fragmentation. How do we help solve some of these issues? I think one of the other speakers mentioned earlier about, some of the problems today is that you use one bridge, you pay one fee, you come back the other way, you pay another fee, and for the end retail user, they're essentially just getting hit with these fees and not realizing how much of their money they're losing as they're going across. And so as an aggregator product, we essentially kind of have built up this because we aggregate so many routes. The beauty is we can kind of help the user select, hey, here's the cheapest fee, or here's the route that gives you the most output. You might pay a little bit more gas, but if you're okay with that, go for it. Or I just want the fastest route. I need to ape into this token on Arbitrum. The yield farm is about to take off. I just want to get there as fast as possible. And so, depending on the type of preference of the route you're looking for, there's ways to do this. And we're not the only ones doing this. There's lots of players in the space. I think, the Bitcoin narrative has been really kind of really popular recently as well. A lot of, especially with Bitcoin DeFi kind of taking off, there's a lot of kind of opportunity on that side as well. But I don't know if that answers your question, Julian, or if there's something specific you're looking for.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to like dive into some like for example, when been looking into Solana, I've been looking into the Wormhole project, right? So if anyone would like to kind of deep dive into how that technology works.
Well, I can speak from a layer one aspect. We've developed a bridgeless cross-chain technology that not only allows you to move assets and control and manage your assets on any EVM or non-EVM chain, the technology that we're using it for currently is in the form of a cross-chain swap, but we've also have the underlining stuff to expand it into data and to logic. And for an example, one of those things that we're doing with our cross-chain swap technology is being able to take a game, for an example. If the game's on Polygon, many of you guys have mentioned it, having that seamless experience to not even know that the game is on Polygon, and be able to play it from, just being on a protocol on Binance or Ethereum type of thing, and not even having to make that swap. Likewise, having an NFT that is on Ethereum and basically using it in a game or using it in a staking process or putting it up for sale on Avalanche, and vice versa, or even putting it across multiple chains for sale at once. And so that is the capabilities that we're doing right now. And, if you want to take it even a step further, when you're minting your tokens for your DeFi project, if you mint those through L1X, for an example, you could actually mint it so that it literally goes out and you put a little bit on Polygon, you mint a little bit on Ethereum, a little bit on Binance, and a little bit on Avalanche, for an example. You could our systems allow you to basically do a couple of different things. One is you can actually manage all of the balances from a single source, so that you're not having to go and manually update those constantly. And so there's the source, and then there's the destination, and then all of that is being rerouted back. And because it is minted on the L1X blockchain and utilized on other chains, we cut the fees way down. Our standard fee on the L1X blockchain is only 1 cent. And so no matter the size of the transaction and things like that. And so for us, it's been a very successful move as we've gone into the help other protocols, other blockchains utilize this cross-chain experience of true native interoperability. We've kind of used the term burn crypto bridges, because I don't know about you guys, but like my very first experience of working with a cross-chain bridge back in the day, I swear I had to spend a few minutes praising the porcelain Buddha, because I was so stressed out that my couple of grand that I was transferring was not going to make it, and it was stressful, and it took I would say about 8 hours for it to make a transfer. I won't name the bridge that I used, but after that, it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. I can't remember who was saying it, that it was about the user experience. Horrible user experience. In my mind, I have tried to avoid using cross-chain bridges after that, because all I could imagine was some 40-year-old virgin in his mom's basement with his own little PC making that transfer for me, and it scared the crap out of me. And so as technology is advanced, specifically in cross-chain technology, that's changing my view on things. And when I came across Layer 1X's capabilities, almost a year and a half ago, it was awesome, because I saw the future, and I saw the vision of that seamless integration for uniting all blockchains, and not really having to worry about having this coin or that coin, and being able to become that maxi. I think, Julian, you were the one that was talking about it. So it's been great. And one of the use cases that we've been able to build right into our native blockchain token is using the L1X coin as a universal gas fee token. I think that that's another great use case today that is being shown to the crypto industry is how you'll be able to use that as a gas fee on Ethereum, use it as a gas fee on Polygon, Solana, Avalanche, Cosmos, Arbitrum, all of the different chains that we're integrated with. And I think that that's going to be paramount in the future for creating that vision.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the beauties of this space is that there's a lot of different bridges in this space, and everyone's taking an interesting, different approach to how we think about moving liquidity from one chain to another. Going back to your question about like wormhole, so if you want to bridge between Ethereum and Solana, what we call EVM to SVM, there's a few bridges that offer this route. Wormhole is one of them. D-Bridge is another one as well. And both of these bridges handle it in different ways. And I haven't looked at Layer 1x and Krypton. I definitely want to take a look at that as well. Look at look at the bridge over there as well. But Wormhole specifically kind of handles cross-chain communication. And so you can think of Wormhole kind of like a communication protocol. What it does is it employs what's called a lock and mint model. And so let's say I want to send, USDC from Ethereum to Solana. I would actually first send this USDC to a smart contract on the origin side, on the Ethereum side. Then a message would be passed across a set of validators and guardians that sit between that essentially govern the wormhole bridge. And once that message is verified, it'll essentially mint the equivalent number of USDC that was initially locked up on the Ethereum side on the Solana side, right? And so because that process is handled through cross-chain communication, there's obviously some security assumptions that you have to assume. You have to assume that the validators don't go rogue and don't collude. You have to assume that the validators are sufficiently decentralized. But for the most part, I mean, teams like Wormhole, they've been around for multiple years. They even survived a massive breach as well and kind of came back. They're backed by Jump Capital, who are some of the largest players in the space as well. And so that's a reliable route. I think that works. We also have integrated Wormhole into our stack as well. D-Bridge is another type of bridge where you can do the same type of transaction, except they have this network called what's called DLN, where they kind of employ market makers on either side. And so it's like, I want to move the same USDC from one chain to another. They'll just kind of request quotes from the market makers and make sure there's sufficient liquidity on either side to quickly release these assets. And so D-Bridge actually has been recently been actually pretty fast for like some of these type of transfers. But again, I think like every type of bridge out there, they have very interesting, unique designs, and there are certain advantages and disadvantages of using one bridge over another. And I think this is part of the space where I think we're still very early. There's so many ways of doing cross-chain swaps, and so many different options. I think the retail end user, I mean, I think we may actually further confuse them as well. But at the same time, I think giving them options and allowing them to use different tools and pick the one that they're most comfortable with, I think is very important as well.
I was reading something about Vitalik mentioning about how he thinks the end game for the most secure cross chain is something similar to like IBC and not the lock, mint, and burn function. Although Chainlink recently made something with their CCIP that is like lock, mint, and burn, but they have additional security infrastructure set up. Are you familiar with the IBC?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, IBC is actually used by chains on the Cosmos ecosystem today, and I know there's been a lot of talk about how maybe there could be a sense of IBC in the Ethereum EVM world, but it's a complex topic because chains that support IBC share security, and so we think about in the EVM world, we think about Ethereum that has the kind of largest chain, the longest set of blocks that you can technically say has the strongest security, and so I'm not sure if IBC is going to come to Ethereum anytime soon, but it's certainly utilized in the Cosmos ecosystem today, and it works really well. I mean, it enables very cheap transfers and allows for very fast communication between different Cosmos blockchains.
Mm-hmm. And just maybe it might be a stupid question, but so how does the lock, mint, and burn method how is it susceptible to honeypots as a honeypot for hackers? Like how does that how does the security the lack of security there actually, how does a hacker actually get into that?
Yeah, I mean, I could take over. I want to let the others speak as well, but just quickly to answer that, because the lock, mint, and burn model depends on a set of validators that govern these transactions to handle these message passing from one chain to another. If say someone was able to get access to more than 50% of that validator set, this happened actually with the Ronin bridge, where they were breached a few years ago as well. It's essentially getting access to the who holds the keys of these validators, and so it's similar to how blockchain networks work with nodes. If anyone gets access to more than 51% of the network, they could technically collude and reroute the funds. And so I think that's where the honeypot scenario and like users being able to get into taking over the validator set to essentially reroute the funds is where it becomes a concern. And so actually making sure that not one party holds more than X percentage of the validator network, it's really important, making sure that we actually decentralize that validator guardian network properly.
Awesome, thank you.
No, that's some great insight. Definitely. Let's pause here. We're kind of at the halfway point. So before I move on to my next question, for our listeners that are just tuning in, my name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is, if you couldn't tell, is definitely on capabilities of cross-chain swaps. And so if you happen to have any questions from our community, please feel free to drop, or excuse me, for our panelists, please feel free to drop those comments in your questions in the comments, and we'll make sure that Sam grabs those, and we'll get those in front of our panelists to get those answered for you. So thanks again for tuning in. So my next question, we've kind of briefly touched upon it a little bit here, and basically what I'm looking for is it's kind of around. I think you guys touched upon it. Like, what are the risks? What are the scams, the gotchas? That investors need to watch out for when they're trying to perform these cross-chain swaps. I haven't looked at the number lately of the different chains that have been, hacked this year, liquidated this year. I know that it's already in the billions that have been stolen and things like that. Has anybody heard of any good stories lately? Any tips or tricks that you guys want to give to our listeners out there that are looking to kind of perform these swaps?
Yeah, I mean, I probably have the least to say, so I'll to go first and go quickly rather. Obviously, the whole not your keys, not your crypto. Make sure you're in some sort of a wallet that's secure, that you control. That the biggest thing is don't click funny links, which I know is a very tempting thing in the crypto space, but that's how a lot of people get wrecked, is by making that simple mistake. And then just make sure you understand the threat model and the risks that you're taking. So, for example, for context, ICE was a frequent user of Thorchain in the 2021-ish era, during the ChaosNet era, when it was using mainnet assets but was still considered to be in testnet. And during that time, of course, the chain got, there was a few exploits, and the chain went down for a while. And I understood the risks entirely during that time, and kind of used it accordingly. And since then, of course, everything has gone significantly better in that case. And so I just think that a lot of people, if there's some brand new cross-chain protocol or interface or whatever that hasn't been battle tested, just understand that that's the case. To understand that there is actual risk in this, that it's not just it's not everything is binary where you're completely safe or you're about to get FTX'd. Like there's a spectrum of risk in between, and just make sure that you know exactly where you stand on all that.
I think a second very safe way to go about the cross-chain is you go to your nearest pet store, you find a pigeon, and then you tie your token to it, and then you find someone else on Reddit, and then you just throw your bird into the sky, and then you'll basically get that cross-chain transaction. But this is actually off-chain, so that one is a lot safer.
That's hilarious. I actually just shared also a risk in the thread here a list of all the bridge hacks that have happened recently as well. So it's probably good for anyone looking to dive into cross-chains. Just kind of take a look and read about how it happened. Some of it's very technical, so it may not be relevant, but still, I think yeah, I would certainly say I think make sure you work with trusted players. Make sure if you're using a cross-chain bridge, they have a public audit report that you can take a look at as well. There's clear conviction that there's teams that are building on top of this bridge. There's clear conviction that the liquidity is what they say it is. There are scenarios with the multi-chain bridge a few years ago, and multi-chain bridge was kind of the early movers in the bridge space as well. It definitely helped pioneer some of the design in the space. But what happened was that because multi-chain kind of took all their assets and if you started with USDC on one chain, if you went to, let's say, Phantom chain, that USDC became any USDC, and so it was a wrapped version of that USDC. But the problem was there was no liquidity sometimes for these wrapped any tokens, any USDC or any FTM or whatever the token was. And so that was a scenario where like you essentially were kind of in this gridlock scenario where I want to bridge over to this blockchain because I wanted to, provide yield or buy some NFT or perform some sort of swap, but I couldn't that any X token, there was no liquidity for it at all. And so all you could do is essentially just bridge it back to your origin chain, spend a bunch of gas dollars for to do nothing essentially. And so that problem eventually was solved and they actually moved away from that model altogether. But yeah, I think understanding that, making sure that you understand the end-to-end transaction, and honestly, if you use tools like Swing, like you don't have to worry about these things. We totally abstract all this stuff away for you. We actually check liquidity pools before you even start a transfer to make sure that you actually end up with what you're looking for. But still, it's a huge space. So there's a lot of confusion out there.
Yeah, many
I
people don't
think
realize how many hacks, percentage-wise happen on bridges, right? Wrapping, bridging, it's a huge number. I know, like the multi-chain security breach was really big last summer. That was, I don't know how many million, 50 million or something. I'll tell you what my hack is to get around it is to have a circle of trust, what I call my private OTC, which is call up a friend. And I did it today. I needed a couple BNB to get a transaction done. So I said, hey, I'll send you some Ethereum. You send me some BNB coin, and it worked beautifully. And like I said, I'm not the most sophisticated guy when it comes to bridging tokens. I didn't want to do it in MetaMask. MetaMask wanted to charge me like $125 just for a simple transaction to bridge this. So that's my workaround. Build that circle of trust.
I think the simple rule of thumb would be that the more decentralized the underlying solution is, the more transparent the underlying solution is, the more secure it is likely to be. Actually, I think that is the very simple rule of thumb over here. If you notice all the hacks that have happened over the years, not just in the cross-chain space, but in general, they are due mainly to the reason that the assets have been centralized into single contracts, single nodes, or things like that. So that becomes automatically becomes a honeypot for the hackers as such. So the more decentralized solutions that you look out for, uh, which I believe, I firmly believe that is the cornerstone of blockchains as such, because one of the biggest cornerstones of blockchain is decentralization. So, but people always tend to move towards a centralized exchange or a centralized solution for all their needs. So, I believe the more decentralized solutions you look out for, the more safer you can be.
Yeah, I totally echo that for sure. I think that's absolutely right. You do want to go with decentralized solutions. Now, there's obviously trade-offs as well. Typically, more decentralized solutions are a little slower. There's kind of longer security proofs that need to occur. But it's a trade-off. I mean, it depends on the use case and what the end customer is looking to do. So yeah, definitely centralized versus decentralized bridges. I think is a huge topic for sure.
A question for you, mostly about your project. What differentiates Swing versus Squid Router or OX protocol?
Yeah, great question. So fundamentally, the three of us are a little different. So Squid Router is a routing protocol built on top of one bridge, Axelar, which is their core partner, bridge partner. Swing is built on top of 12 bridges, Axelar, Celer, Synapse, you name it, all the major bridges. 0x protocol is a DEX aggregator, and so that's actually a partner that we're actually planning to integrate. They primarily aggregate DEXs on different chains, single chain swaps is kind of what they focus on. So we would, if you think about what a cross chain aggregator like Swing is, if you want to perform, and I'll just maybe walk through an example very quickly. Let's say you want to swap Matic on Polygon for ETH on Arbitrum, for example. We would use something like 0x on the Polygon side to swap that Matic into, let's say, USDC. We would then, broadcast that to 12 plus bridges and say, hey, one of you guys give us your best quote to move that USDC from Polygon to Arbitrum. In Squid's case, they rely solely on Axelar to do this. And I think Axelar is one of the forefront, one of the major teams here in the space as well. But the reason why we kind of went down the aggregator model is because if you're a protocol team that's built on top of one bridge, or let's say you're a DEX that's connected to one bridge, if that bridge is exploited, your protocol is vulnerable now. With Swing, we've built this in a way where if you can be connected to 7 bridges at the same time, and if one bridge gets exploited, you can immediately log into our backend dashboard, what we call the Swing platform, and turn off that bridge right away, so you can stop any further vulnerabilities. So now going back to the example, you're starting with Matic on Polygon, you want to get ETH on Arbitrum. So we'll use 0x on the Polygon side to swap that Matic into USDC, find the best bridge of the 12 bridges that we support, Axelar is one of them, to then bridge it across from Polygon to Arbitrum. And then again, we could use something like 1inch or 0x or Paraswap on DEX aggregators to then swap it from that USDC into the ETH on Arbitrum and then deliver that into the user's MetaMask wallet or whichever wallet they're using. We support a ton of them. But yeah, that's kind of the core difference there.
Amazing. I would love to definitely connect with you. I did send you a follow.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, because definitely that's something that we're going through with Masma right now, and then we're playing around with our own cross chain smart contract deployers and all this crap. But ultimately, to achieve that universal user experience, like this technical side is definitely something I need to really get down pat.
Happy to.
Oh, that's great. William, it sounds like you need to get some L1X coins so that you don't run into that gas fee problem down the road again.
I know.
Exactly. So, there were a good couple of points that were brought up there. One of those being fees. If we take, let's just be honest. When it comes to new crypto investors, I won't call them newbies, but new crypto investors out there, they seem to have that the grass is always greener on the other side. In this case, the other chain syndrome, right? They're always chasing the fear of missing out on this meme coin or that meme coin. And so, we often see these crypto investors just nonchalantly just jumping from chain to chain and chain. I'm just curious, do you feel like a lot of these bridges, swaps, specifically cross-chain swaps, do you feel like they're taking advantage to this mentality of these type of crypto users that are doing it? Because we have battle tested our cross-chain swap against a lot of different swaps, Stargate, Squid, things like that, and the amount to cross-chain swap is astronomical in some cases. And so I'm curious on your thoughts. Is it a money grab, or are they taking advantage of these investors that need to make the swaps? What's your guys' take or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think in my perspective, I think no one wants to do swaps for the sake of swapping. I think there's an end kind of goal in mind typically. If someone even wants to even consider going through the labyrinth of performing a cross-chain swap, and hopefully that this process becomes a lot more easier and seamless going forward. Typically I've seen, usually there's a new launch. For example, like, Blast ecosystem is getting is making a lot of noise recently. They're offering a points program. A lot of users want to get over there and start interacting with some of those protocols because they want to participate in the airdrop. And so in that type of scenario, we've had many teams now, even within our own Swing ecosystem, requesting support for Blast, for the Blast blockchain. And so for that reason, we added it. We help some of the end users bridge over for this particular reason. But it's because they specifically want to interact with X protocol on Blast, because they want to participate in the airdrop, or they want to earn some farming rewards for providing LP or whatever it is. But yeah, I would love to hear what others think about this as well.
On a user perspective side, because I have done cross chains before even getting into the actually understanding the technology side. For me, it's just it's just regular customers jobs to be done, right? Like I'm trading. Actually, I did a lot of my cross chain stuff on 1inch. I'd be swapping tokens, and then obviously I look for another token, and I'm like, oh shit, well this token's on a specific chain, but the difference is I don't actually know what the difference between. I think all cross chains are the same, right? You don't know what different type of cross chain technologies. All you heard of is all you're really thinking is, oh, Uniswap uses this cross chain, or 1inch uses this cross chain, so I'm going to try this cross chain, right? So I think it's more of a branding thing. Like, you hear cross chain, you only think one thing. Oh, this token A to token B. What harm could there be, right? You hear about issues of cross chain hacks and stuff like this, but sometimes, and this is just a numbers game, is that it's not the platform that you used, right? Like, for example, I was in Axes, but I never used their bridge. I was like, well, I never used their bridge. Why would I ever use the Axes Infinity bridge, right? And so I think that's how people, like most users, are thinking about it. It's just, hey, that's never happened to me. I'm going to continue using this bridge that I've been using on Uniswap or on 1inch. No issues for me. Actually, I had a great experience actually using the 1inch bridge. I just transferred all my funds to USDC, went from USDC on, I think it was like on Ethereum, to Arbitrum, and then boom, like that was pretty nice. The thing I did have to figure out though, which I think some people might get like screwed over, is if you swap. Actually, no, I put into a wrapped Ethereum, because when you go into Arbitrum, you do need wrapped Ethereum for like the native gas fees, I'm pretty sure. So the issue here could run into, because those platforms aren't gas abstracted. If you send all your funds, and I think this happened to me. If you send all your funds onto a blockchain and it's in USDC and you don't have the native gas fees to do anything else on that chain, then you're stuck, and then you got to go back and do that. I think that's exactly what happened to me. I sent all my funds to Arbitrum and USDC, and then I was like, oh shit, what's this wrapped Ethereum that I need on this chain? I couldn't do anything. I had to do another cross chain swap. And that usually you do have to wait like 2-3 minutes. So that is something that is probably an experience that most people are going to face.
Sounds like, Julian, you need some L1X coins as well. That way you won't run into that gas fee problem.
Well, now I got to go read through your white paper and all this. So I mean, but I will definitely take a look once I get further down.
Oh, make sure you curl up with a good blanket and a drink, because it's 120 pages.
Bruh.
It's intense. Our founder, he is a very brilliant man, and definitely it's a page turner. Let's just put it that way. So if you love diving into the technical aspects of it, definitely go. One kind of thing that we're coming up on time, and I have one last question, but I do want to point out one thing. For us with our cross-chain swap technology, we're not here to compete. We are definitely here to allow other protocols, projects, and specifically blockchains as well to utilize our cross-chain technology. You know, I did a swap just yesterday through just a basic swap, and it was amazing how much it was to do a Stargate transfer versus us. And, you know, I think it ended up taking a few minutes, almost like 4 or 5 minutes, and cost about $8 to transfer, and ours was just like 90 seconds. And I was doing Ethereum to, excuse me, not Ethereum, Binance to Polygon, and in USDC, and took 90 seconds, cost us about 41 cents. And it was just super slick. And so we've got a lot of our community out there posting a lot of their like swap experiences and things like that. But we just want to make sure that everybody is clear here. Like, we're not here to compete. We're here to unite. We share the same passion and vision of what was talked about earlier, and about uniting, being able to just help create that positive user experience, make it safer, faster, cheaper, for everybody to enjoy crypto across the board. So, with my last question coming up, you know, if anybody wants to add any comments or anything like that, go ahead. I'll pause for just a second before asking that last question. No takers? All right. Well, my last question is a hard one, I guess, but I think a couple of you guys have alluded to it. But if you followed us, you've probably heard or seen about our tweets about our L1X swap. Has anybody on this panel tried it so far? I'm curious.
I have not, but you have definitely piqued my interest. I'm definitely going to take a look at it.
Perfect.
Nope,
Perfect.
have not yet.
I highly encourage you guys to try it. We had a VC firm. I was just on a phone call last night, and they work with a lot of different projects, big name projects. A lot of you guys have heard, but I don't feel like name dropping because I don't feel like picking them up. But they were quite impressed with it, and how seamless it was. So I would love. We're still kind of in beta with it. Our launch is happening on April 2nd. Our TGE, and so you know, there are limited amounts that you can swap on there for the present moment. Like I said, we're in beta, but I would love to get your expertise and feedback on it. So if you wouldn't mind trying it for us, and then you know, just DMing us and letting us know your thoughts and feedback. And likewise, if you guys are interested in utilizing this technology, we are all for it and would love to partner with you guys in your projects to help bring true native bridgeless interoperability to your guys' projects. So yeah, so with that, I think you guys have definitely deserved a good little exit in outro, I guess you could say. So thank you for joining us. If you guys want to take 30 seconds again and just kind of remind the listeners about your project, how they can find out more information about you guys and what you're doing to innovate the Web3 space, go for it. The time to shill is right now.
All right.
Well, Bitcoin is one rice hair away from all-time high, so that's a bonus for the end of the call as well.
Hey, I'll show real quick. So I have several clients, but the biggest project I'm working on right now is in decentralized science. Check out Axon DAO. We are changing the landscape to make science great again, so it's not owned and driven by corporate interests and big pharma. It's my show.
Yeah, I think jumping quick as well. would love to see more spaces like this, even talking about cross-chain staking, cross-chain liquidity deposits. These are also areas that we can certainly help with as well. Again, yeah, my name is Vivek, founder, CEO of Swing. We work with about 50 different B2B developer teams in the space, helping them with cross-chain use cases. If you're looking for a cross-chain strategy, please hit us up. You can follow us at swing_XYZ on Twitter, or just DM me or follow me as well. Happy to connect. Thanks a lot, guys, for the spaces.
Thanks a lot, guys, for the spaces as well. So we are Kana Labs. If you are a retail user looking to do a cross-chain swap, you can visit us at kanalabs.io. If you are a business looking to incorporate cross-chain swaps into your platforms, you can reach us out as well. So thanks for having us on this call, on this space. Looking forward to more such ones.
Hey, yeah. So once again, I work with Dash, which is the premier cryptocurrency for payments, for digital money, for actually, using it to live off of it. I closed my bank account in 2016 and have been using Dash as my daily money ever since, which is coming up on 8 years now. So that's cool. Definitely follow me here at the Desert Links. Follow at Dash Pay on X here. For all the cool stuff we're doing, and dash.org is the website. And we're definitely anticipating a very significant release this year and a significant growth in user base. So we're working very hard towards that. And just all I could say is watch us. It's going to be a great ride.
I'll throw in my 12-second pitch. If you're sick of using so many different applications for Web3, definitely give me a follow. We're going to be launching Masma during this bull, and it'll be replacing all of your solutions. We're going to be working with the best of the best to deliver you the best user experience ever seen. We're going to make Web3 known for user experience. Thank you.
All right, I think that's everybody. So, and that kind of wraps up our deep dive discussion today. We hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Before we close this epic episode, let's give a big thank you to all of our panelists for their participation. I think that it sounds like a lot of you guys would enjoy having another kind of follow-up AMA on this topic. I know I would. So if you guys are interested in that, please DM us and let us know so that we can get you guys back up and on. Also, don't forget to mark your calendars for the next AMA coming up on the 8th of March. And it should be a good one. We're going to be diving into the future of crypto wallets and kind of the innovation in tech leading the charge in this next bull run. So that should be a good one. Until next time, my fellow experts, let's keep pushing the boundaries of innovation and unite all of crypto. Have a great day, night, and morning, wherever you're at.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers.